What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here today. I'm making this video to talk about the Deshaun Watson stuff that's going on. Obviously, everybody's talking about it. I actually just got done listening in on, Reason's little live stream that he did with Mr. Ball Game and EM, having those guys up there. Shout out to all of them. It was a great conversation. Much love to Ball Game. He lost his puppy. Well, it wasn't a puppy. It was his older dog. But he lost his dog. He lost one of his best friends recently. So much love going out to Ball Game. And Doug made a video. I haven't watched his video yet, but I'm gonna. But it's the hot topic, the Deshaun Watson stuff. So I am making a video, and I do want to talk about it for a second. Before I do, though, I do want to talk about or let you guys know about a new collaboration that I'm actually doing, fortunate enough to be doing with a new sports app that is trying to enhance game day experience. And it's their goal is to make it fan driven. So not only are the creators fans, sports fans, football fans, fans of different teams, and obviously the users, that's who it's focused towards, but also even people that, the people that are doing the hosted live chats and so on and so forth. People like me. This upcoming week, I will be hosting with a Falcons YouTube or content creator. We will be in the live chat chopping it up with you guys out there if you join in. I actually have the link in the description box for both Apple and Android based platforms, so you can get the app there. It's called Rave On Sports, and they do, during the games, they do live play-by-plays, and there's a chat where you can chop it up with different fans, whatever, discuss the game, talk about, penalties, are they good penalties, bad penalties, etc., etc., and it's going to be a good time. So make sure you guys check that out. And like I said, it's going to be a great time. I'm super excited about it because it's my first major collaboration thing. So make sure you check it out. All right. Anyway, now let's get to the Watson stuff because it's obviously the hot topic. So there was reports today that the Dolphins could be making a deal with the Houston Texans sometime this week in regard to Deshaun Watson. Look, I'm honestly gonna try and keep this short because at the end of the day, as far as what I think and everything, the receipts are out there. So you guys can go back and watch previous videos and stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, I've been consistent with what I've said. Ever since this happened, first and foremost, we know that Stephen Ross signed off on the trade prior to the new league year opening up back in March. The only reason why it didn't go through is because before the new league year opened and they could officially make it happen, the allegations against Deshaun Watson came up, okay? And then Stephen Ross pulled his signature back and said, no, I'm not, no. At least for now. But the interest has never gone away. And I told you guys this. I told you guys the Dolphins were always going to be the number one spot. I told you guys that. Now look, to be completely fair, it still actually has not happened yet. It's not official. But I told you guys, it's not going to go away until the trade deadline comes up. It could happen anytime between now and then. But what I told you guys was the most likely thing to happen is that we were going to be in a situation of desperation, and that's what they think is going to save the season. Now, I've been telling you guys that I did not expect this team to be all that good this year because I've been seeing a lot of the things that people are starting to just see now, how bad this coaching staff is, how deep-seated and, some of the toxicity is. Again, there's still some things that we can't talk about from behind-the-scenes stuff, but Brian Flores showed who he was from Jump Street with the way he treated Kenny Stills and Tunsil, Van Noy, Minka Fitzpatrick, Ryan Fitzpatrick, all of these guys, right? The way he showed his childish nature in those regards. He's super arrogant and stubborn. He has shown that. He's constantly lying to us about various things. And then you add in his, very Patriot-esque fundamental philosophies on how to build a team and so on and so forth. He's got nothing but betas on his coaching staff and And even on the team, there's no real veteran leadership that's, that could or would, counteract or talk back, if you will, except for guys like, maybe Xavier Howard. And I've been telling you, even after they did finally, sign him, once they realized that their secondary was complete trash without him, that the relationship still wasn't good, right? That there were still tensions, and Howard's not completely bought in, and that's at this point, it seems undeniable. But I told you guys, man. And so I didn't expect this team to be good because I saw all of these things coming to fruition. I've been telling people since 2019 that this tanking philosophy wasn't going to work, and the people who were running it are not going to do the right things. I've talked about how bad their drafting has been, how bad their development has been, all of this time. And now people are just starting to see it. I told you. And then the tanking philosophy to begin with. It doesn't work in the NFL. It's barely worked in other sports. Only a couple times, handful of times. Okay? It doesn't work, and it puts way too much pressure on you. And the first season, a lot of people want to throw that away as, oh no, because we were intentionally bad, it doesn't count. No, it absolutely counts towards your rebuild. Just because that's the year you're completely tearing it down doesn't mean it doesn't count. And if you think the dude who fucking started the whole thing to begin with, Stephen Ross, thinks of the year one as not counting, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. He absolutely does. But it was never going to work to begin with because it forces you to get rid of talent, leadership, experience, etc., for that draft capital and cap space, and it requires you to, in a very super short amount of time, 2-3 years tops, turn things around and prove that you can be a consistent winner at the most. And I say 2 years, adding in the context of how Stephen Ross generally does business, firing his coaches every 3 years. It's actually been, to be honest though, it's actually been getting shorter, been getting shorter when you look at it, because Sperano and Philbin, they got fired because I've said 3 to 3.5 years is how long he keeps his coaches, every single one of them, and that's a fact. But it was 3.5 years earlier on with Sperano and Philbin. They got fired mid-season in their 4th year. Gase only got 3 years because Stephen Ross started getting older and more desperate, and Gase did not want to tank the 2019 season. He did not say okay to that, and so Stephen Ross said bye-bye, and he went and got Brian Flores, who signed on to that deal. No, so they knew what they were getting into. It 100% counts. But I've been pointing all of these things out for years now. And I've been telling you guys. And people just wanted to call me a hater, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. And look, I don't like being right about it because it's a disaster for this fucking team. But here we are. And so now that this season is collapsing as I foresaw it, and real quick again, I mean, people wanted to, laugh at me and call me a hater and all that shit when prior to preseason, I said that the product that they put on the field last year was 6 or 7 wins at best, and they severely overachieved because of some of that leadership like Ryan Fitzpatrick that they had, and also because of things like, playing bad to super beat up teams in the back 2/3 of the season, and somewhat even in the first third of the season, like the 49ers, right? And it didn't have anything to do with the actual product that they were putting on the field. Did they take advantage of those things? And did the ball bounce in their way a lot? Yes, that's what led to their overachieving, not that they put a 10-win team on the field. And so I said prior to the preseason, this is going to be like a 6-win team. Through the first 6 games, I had us going 1-5. I had us losing to New England, Buffalo, Vegas, Tampa, and Jacksonville, with us beating the Colts. So obviously, the 2 things that I got wrong there is you just flip New England and Indy, and I'm dead right on my 1-5 start through the first 6 games. Now, we'll see how the rest of it goes. We'll see how accurate I was at the end of the season, but I've been telling you guys this shit was coming because all of this stuff was brewing in the background. The constant turnover on the coaching staff and on the roster. thinking that you can just take a super young, inexperienced team and make them fucking, great as if they've all been playing for 10 years in the league. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I never liked the dual offensive coordinators. Although I was surprised to see how many times it actually happened, more so on defense. But it actually happened quite a bit, and there was some success with it. But of course, you can't trust the Dolphins to get anything, right? No. They fuck everything up, right? I've been telling people that being on the 4th and 5th offensive coordinator and the 4th offensive line coach is fucking terrible. Right? Like, it's fucking, there's no continuity, no chemistry. I've been telling you guys, like, now people are talking about how Brian Flores is super hard to talk to and hard to play for and how he's arrogant and stubborn. I've been telling you guys that because it was all there to see from Jump Street. People just didn't want to see it. They didn't want to see it. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted to think that he was the next coming of Don Shula. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to get a lot of the, I know that's a little bit, side notey or whatever, a little bit subtopic, but I had to get this history up because I've been telling people all this shit now. And, people want to say, like, hindsight is 2020. Bro, you got to be able to see this shit coming. Especially for the people that are actually running the organization, and they couldn't see this disaster fucking coming, in large part because guys like Brian Flores are arrogant, stubborn assholes. Anyway, so we catch us back up now that the season has been falling off the fucking rails like I said it was going to. Unfortunately, again, I don't like being right about this because it's my team being fucking absolute trash again. I just wasn't willing to fucking sip the Kool-Aid and fucking believe it back then when I saw this shit coming. But now that we're here, I've been telling you too, not only are the Dolphins always going to be the number one spot for a number of reasons, including Deshaun Watson's no trade clause, but they were going to be the ones to get desperate enough to do it, and that it could go all the way up to the trade deadline, but it's not going to go away until it either happens, again, to be fair, because there's nothing official yet, but until it either does happen or the trade deadline passes or something definitive that completely takes the probability of it happening off the table 100%, it's going to stick around. I told you guys how fucking, bad it is for this team when it comes to distractions and stuff. And they talked about that on Reason's show, right? But so now that we're here, I've been telling you guys, bro, Stephen Ross is going to fucking pull the trigger. He's going to mortgage the future of this franchise. First and foremost, the past 3 years of draft picks, there are some potential still, most notably with some of the guys they got this year, like Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland. I actually do like those 3 picks overall. And there's a couple other guys, Raekwon Davis, Robert Hunt. But for the most part, the past 3 years worth of draft picks, you've basically fucking flubbed on and whiffed. So what do you think's going to happen, bro? They've basically fucked up on the past 3 years. If they bring in Deshaun Watson, that means all 3 fucking first-round picks from last year, Tua, Austin Jackson, and Noah Igbenogany, will be busts for the Dolphins, even if Tua, and I think he will, even if Tua goes somewhere else and balls out. Because then he's not balling out for you. And that's even with the fact that they've already cut 5 players from these drafts already. Isaiah Prince, Chandler Cox, Solomon Kinley, not Solomon Kinley, Jason Strawbridge, Curtis Weaver, and Malcolm Perry. And I've been telling you how bad these guys are at drafting and development. But what do you think's going to happen then when they mortgage away the next 2 to 3 years of draft picks and have to incur the kind of cap hit that they're going to have to incur with Deshaun Watson coming over? The team's already not properly built around Tua, Brissett, Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Watson if he comes here, but then they're not going to have any draft capital or cap space to do anything with. And if you want any kind of cap space, then you got to get rid of key players elsewhere, like, Xavier Howard and or Byron Jones. So, I mean, like, it's a complete fucking mess, bro. It's a complete fucking mess. But I've been telling everybody that this shit was coming. Now, wait. Again. So I can't be more clear. It hasn't happened yet, and I still hope that it doesn't, bro. The last show that I was on of Reasons the other day, what was it, Tuesday? No, Monday. On Monday's show, it wasn't until the backstage when we were chopping it up that I said it. But I said in the backstage to the homies there, I was like, bro, I need this trade deadline to hurry up and get here because I do not want this trade to go down, bro. It's because Steven, and I've been saying, bro, and so let's be clear, let's be a little bit more clear about Stephen Ross. He signed off, first of all, he did want Tua. Him and Chris Greer wanted Tua. Marino and Flores wanted Herbert when it came to the draft in 2020. That's what we know, okay? So, Ross did originally want Tua. He got Tua. But the problem is he's too old now and getting too desperate. The tank job was his first major desperation move. But he's too old and desperate now at this point to even give the kid a chance, especially when the people that he hired, the fails that he hired in Greer and Flores are not properly building the team around him because he wants to find his Dan Marino. That is like the number one thing that Stephen Ross wanted to do when he became majority owner, is find his Dan Marino, because then he felt that by just simply finding the elite quarterback, the franchise guy, that you're going to, by definition, then be a perennial contender for division championships, the playoffs, AFC championships, and the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not accurate because you have to build a proper team around him, and that's one of the primary reasons why Stephen Ross has never gotten it right, because he doesn't know he doesn't know how to hire the right GMs and coaches to get it right, but then he also doesn't sign off on the fucking move. He doesn't have a good football enough knowledge and understanding and expertise to be able to know which moves are the right moves to sign off on. The big one, because he has to sign off on all the big name free agents that we've signed over the past 10, 15 years that haven't worked out for us. All the splashy trades and things that we did, the massive amounts of cap space we would blow through in free agency. He has to sign off on all of that. So, I told you though, man, desperation, bro. He signed off on it. He got nervous when the allegations hit, and that's why he backed off. But now that the things that I've been saying are coming to fruition, and this team is now 1-5, Stephen Ross is now at the point where he's telling Chris Greer, bro, if you want to even have any chance of saving your job, you need to go and fucking sign Deshaun Watson. Because Stephen Ross thinks that Deshaun Watson can be his Marino and save this season, or at the very least be his Marino for the future, at the very least. Now, I think it's stupid and foolish, and it's not going to pan out that way, and that's a big part of the reason why I don't want to do it, especially with the way that even if you do end up firing Greer and Flores, the next guys that come in are going to be hamstrung because they're not going to have the resources to properly build around the dude. Okay? But that's what's happening. And because Stephen Ross, in his mind, thinks that Deshaun Watson can be a savior for this season. Now let's think about it. We're 1-5. There's 11 games left. We would realistically, at a minimum, have to win 9 of those games at least to get to 10 wins and have a chance at making the playoffs this season. Okay? Now, God forbid if they were to wait until the trade deadline, and that's 2 more games, and we drop to 1-7, I mean, that means they would literally have to win the rest of their games to even have a chance. So I do think Stephen Ross's desperation limits are getting at their max, because he's seeing that this season, this is the 3rd year of the tank rebuild. The tank rebuild. This is the and especially with the, supposed progress we made the first 2 years, surprisingly winning 5 games in 2019 when that had absolutely nothing to do with Flores, and there was tons of data. Go back and watch my videos from back then. Tons of data and information to show that Flores was actively trying to make the team lose, both in how he helped construct the team through all the transactions, because he said back then he has a hand in every single one of them, but also the decisions that he made on game day with personnel usage, play calling, etc., etc., etc. Okay, had nothing to do with it, but they won 5 games. And then with the fucking miraculous overachieving they did last year, doubling their win total and barely missing the playoffs at 10 wins, the expectations went through the roof. And now Stephen Ross is saying to himself, man, I still can save this season, but I need Deshaun Watson, because he thinks that Deshaun Watson is going to be able to overcome. First of all, he probably doesn't even realize that the coaching is as bad as it is. He probably doesn't, or if he does, he's going to be like, look, because Flores wanted Watson. He's going to be like, look, all right, Flores, you suck. If he does. I'm not even sure he has the wherewithal to recognize that the coaching sucks, that they don't know how to fucking use players right, that the play calling's been bad, etc., etc. I'm not even completely convinced he recognizes that, but if he does, he's going to be like, all right, Flores, you wanted fucking Watson. Here you go. Make it motherfucking work, buddy. And I'm telling you, bro, it's not going to work. They're going to do this. They're going to mortgage the fucking future. Again, one more time. It hasn't happened yet, and I hope to be wrong. But this is what I think is going to happen, and this is what I've been consistently thinking was going to happen since it all started. I think they're going to end up in a desperation move, making this trade for Deshaun Watson, mortgaging the future of this franchise, thinking that it's going to have that he alone is going to be able to fix all of the issues and make this team a playoff caliber team. And it's not going to happen. I'm telling you guys, for all those out there that think Deshaun Watson can fix this shit offensive line that is not good, people are like, oh, they did good last week. They still let up 20 fucking pressures, and the only reason why they didn't have any sacks was because of Tua's fast release and the fact that he is very good at manipulating the pocket. Now, look, you can argue that Deshaun Watson can do those two things as well, and might even to some degree be able to do it better. But it still doesn't make the offensive line good, and Tua still took a bunch of hits that are not good, and Deshaun Watson's going to take those fucking hits too at points, and he has a pretty significant injury history. Okay, but that's not even it. There's play design, personnel usage, just bad coaching in general, like across the board. None of these guys on the coaching staff are experienced or know what the fuck they're doing. Okay, the defense has taken a giant step backwards and does not look like it's really going to fucking get back on pace. Especially because the areas in which they were actually good, again, there were a number of areas, and that's another thing I was telling people, the defense is going to regress. Now, to be fair, I thought they'd end up settling into the middle of the pack, but then when you take into the full context, it actually does make sense that it's this bad. The fact that they had to play so fucking much, and your top corners like Howard and Jones are injured because they're just getting worn the fuck out in the first few games. And obviously they're somewhat older players too, so they have a bit of wear and tear on them. Not to mention, obviously, although Howard's injury history, his concern was his knees, not the groin that he has now. That's a soft tissue thing that is likely because of the amount of time he's had to play at a fucking super high level, or try to play at a super high level for the first few. Anyway, whatever. So Watson doesn't fix all of these issues. He doesn't fix the terrible run defense and the fact that they're not creating turnovers anymore, that they still can't really get all that great a pass rush, or at least not finish it off with sacks and forced plays that turn the tide of the game. Right? He's not going to change the fucking small-ass, weak fucking linebacker core. He's not going to fix all that shit because he can't play all of these positions himself. And if he could, I wouldn't want him to, because the dude's going to fucking die. Like, he's going to take such a beating if he had to play all 11 positions on offense and defense that the dude won't survive. So, like, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that anybody thinks that Deshaun Watson's going to come in here and fix the fucking problems. It's not going to happen, bro. But like I said, man, I do think that is going to be their answer. They're not going to, Stephen Ross is not going to fire any coaches or Chris Greer. Not yet. Not yet. His answer, his solution is going to be go get Deshaun Watson, because he's getting older and more desperate, and he wants his Dan Marino, and he thinks that's going to be his best shot at getting his Dan Marino, not just to save this season, but just in general, before he dies or whatever. And so he's gonna get Deshaun Watson. He's gonna tell these guys this is the way you can potentially save your job. But then it's still gonna continue to go off the rails. We're not gonna reach 10 wins. We're not going to make it to the playoffs, which was the expectation for the season. And if you bring in Deshaun Watson, the expectation only gets fucking greater at that point because he's a top 5 quarterback and he should be able to lift the team up all by himself. And then he's going to fire Greer and Flores anyway because then Ross said, here, have Deshaun Watson, and they still failed. That's what I foresee happening. And that's what I've been saying this entire time. And the only things that I have not been proven correct on yet, because they haven't happened yet, is that they actually make the trade for Deshaun Watson and that it doesn't work out in their favor, resulting in the firing of both Chris Greer and Brian Flores. But boy, oh boy, are we knocking on the door of all of those things. And again, this is how I'm going to end it. I hope that I am wrong. I want to be wrong more than anything, because if I'm right, then this team is just a giant dumpster fire, and it's going to be for the next few years at least. So let's hope, here's to me being wrong. But anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.